I've put thousands of rounds through shotguns from every brand on this list. Some made me a believer, some made me want to throw them in a lake. Today, we're ranking them all worst to best, and trust me, the top spot is going to spark a debate. Number 10. Beretta sets the stage for the oldest markup game in the firearms world. The company loves to remind you it was founded in 1526, and that 5-century story is stamped into every price tag. A Beretta Silver Pigeon over-under retails between $2,100 and $2,500. Yet the production process behind it runs on modern CNC lines in Gardone Valtrompia that are largely indistinguishable from the machinery producing Turkish over-unders selling for $700 to $900. Strip away the floral engraving and put the action on a bench, and the story gets complicated. The box lock design is solid, genuinely proven steel, but the engraving most buyers assume is hand-cut, is roll-stamped and laser-etched, a process that costs a few dollars per receiver. The walnut is graded, photographed under studio lighting, and priced like furniture. And here is the detail most buyers never learn. The internals of the entry-level Silver Pigeon share components and suppliers with guns far below its price class, while the true hand-fitted Berettas live in the SO series, starting around $30,000, a different factory floor entirely. Number 9. Benelli built an empire on a single patent and has been charging admission ever since. The inertia-driven system is genuinely clever. One spring, one rotating bolt head, fewer parts to clean. But understand what that system actually costs to produce. Less than a comparable gas system, not more. Fewer components, simpler machining, faster assembly. Now look at the price. A Benelli Super Black Eagle 3 retails between $1,900 and $2,200, while gas-operated autoloaders with more parts and more machining time sell for $800 less. Read that again. The simpler gun costs more. The gap is not engineering. It is positioning. Benelli, owned by the same Beretta holding group as its supposed rivals, spends heavily on waterfowl film sponsorships, camouflage pattern licensing, and pro-staff ambassadors whose sole job is to hold the gun in golden hour light. Every frame of that footage is folded into the sticker. The polymer furniture on a $2,000 Benelli is the same injection-molded material found on $500 shotguns, dressed in a licensed camo dip that adds $100 to retail for pennies of cost. The gun runs. Number 8. Purdy and the London Best Gun Trade represent the ceiling of the heritage markup, and the numbers stop being numbers. A James Purdy side-by-side starts around $100,000 and climbs past $250,000 with engraving options. The craftsmanship is real. Let this be clear. Hundreds of hours of hand-fitting, hand-regulated barrels. Actions filed to fit by men who apprenticed for a decade. None of that is in dispute. But here is the uncomfortable math. A fully hand-fitted best-quality shotgun from a Spanish maker in Eibar, built with the same sidelock architecture, the same hand checkering, the same regulation process, can be had for $8,000 to $15,000. That is the ceiling of mechanical performance. Past that number, a shotgun does not pattern tighter, swing smoother, or last longer. Purdy's pricing above that line is not buying additional function. It is buying a Mayfair address, a royal warrant, a leather-lined case, and the deliberate positioning of a firearm as aristocratic artifact. The waiting list itself is a marketing device. Scarcity manufactured into prestige. A shotgun that breaks clays no better than one costing a 20th of its price is not a tool at that point. It is a title deed with triggers. Number 7. Browning presents the story of an American genius applied to overseas production. John Moses Browning designed the Auto 5 and the Superposed, and the company trades on his name in every catalog. The modern reality is more complicated. Browning is owned by FN Herstal of Belgium, and the shotguns wearing the buck mark are manufactured primarily by Miroku in Kochi, Japan. Now, Miroku's work is excellent. The machining is clean. The wood-to-metal fit is genuinely good. and a Citori will outlast its owner. That is not the issue. The issue is the premium. A Citori retails between $2,000 and $2,400, while Miroku sells nearly identical over-unders under its own name in other markets for hundreds less. Same factory, same steel, same hands. The difference is the American legend applied at the border. A licensing arrangement where the Browning name functions as a toll booth between the Japanese factory and the American buyer. The catalog language leans on heritage, the greatest gun designer who ever lived, while the design being sold shares little with anything he drew. Number 6. Standard manufacturing closes the exposed half with the clearest case of a shotgun, priced by spectacle rather than function. The DP-12, a double-barreled pump firing 16 rounds, retails between $1,300 and $1,500, and the marketing writes itself. Viral videos, apocalypse aesthetics, the most intimidating shotgun ever made. Now look at what the money buys. A gun weighing nearly 10 pounds unloaded, with a pump stroke that demands deliberate technique, absent from serious competition, ignored by law enforcement, and impractical for the home defense role it advertises. The manufacturing is competent. The question is what the price is built on. And the answer is not precision. It is millions of YouTube views and video game energy converted directly into sticker price. Every viral clip functions as unpaid advertising, and the company prices the gun for the audience those clips created. Number 5. Mossberg stands out as the manufacturer that brings honest engineering to the bottom of the price ladder. The Mossberg 500 and 590 retail between $350 and $550, and the company's entire model is built on efficient American manufacturing rather than marketing spend. Here is what makes Mossberg different from every exposed brand above it. The record is public. The 590A1 passed the U.S. military's Mil-Spec 3443 torture test, the only pump shotgun to do so, a document anyone can read, covering 3,000 rounds of buckshot without failure. There is nowhere to hide a hype premium behind a military acceptance standard. The engineering follows the same logic. The 500 platform has stayed in continuous production since 1961. With over 11 million units built, and the design choices are ruthlessly practical. An ambidextrous tang safety, dual extractors, and an aluminum receiver that cuts weight and cost without touching the locking system, because the bolt locks into a steel barrel extension, not the receiver. That is why the receiver material debate is marketing noise from competitors. The family still runs the company from North Haven, Connecticut, and the budget goes into tooling, not television. Number 4. CZ takes the value equation into the double gun world, where it embarrasses names costing 3 times more. The CZ over-unders and side-by-sides, built in partnership with Huglu in Turkey to CZ's specifications and quality control, retail between $700 and $1,100. Read what that buys. CNC machined receivers, chrome-lined barrels, hand-finished Turkish walnut, 5 extended choke tubes included in the case, and single selective triggers, with measured pull weights CZ publishes in its specifications. The accessories and chokes alone would cost $200 elsewhere. The Turkish factory floor in Baysahir runs modern European machinery, and CZ's inspectors reject actions that legacy brands would happily ship under a prettier logo. There is no century of folklore attached to these guns, no engraved legend to charge for. CZ cannot sell you a heritage story on a Turkish-built over-under, so it sells you output, documented specifications, included equipment, and a warranty backed by CZ USA in Kansas City, rather than an importer that vanishes when the distributor changes. The markup over production cost lands near the lowest in the double gun market. Number 3. Stoeger rewrites the value playbook by doing something almost subversive. It sells Benelli's engineering without Benelli's marketing budget. The Stoeger M3000 and M3500 run the same inertia-driven operating system as the Super Black Eagle, licensed within the Beretta holding family, and manufactured in Turkey, and they retail between $500 and $700. Consider what that number means. The identical operating principle, one spring, one rotating bolt head. The system Benelli charges $2,000 for, delivered at a quarter of the price. The differences are real but cosmetic. Plainer polymer, simpler finishes, less hand polishing on internal surfaces. The parts that make the gun cycle, the inertia spring and rotating bolt, are the same concept executed on the same modern machinery. Waterfowl guides who shoot 5,000 rounds a season figured this out years ago, which is why boat blinds fill up with Stogers while the marketing photos fill up with Benellis. There is no pro-staff film budget here, no licensed camo campaign, no golden hour cinematography. The savings from all that absent marketing pass straight to the buyer. Stoger did not reinvent the shotgun. Number 2. Beretta's own A300 line proves the exposed and honest halves of this list can live inside the same company. The A300 Ultima retails between $800 and $900, and it is quietly one of the best price-to-function ratios in the autoloader market. The gas system is descended from the A390 and A400 architecture that has won more Sporting Clays titles than any competing action, and the receiver comes off the same Maryland production line with the same quality control. What the A300 deletes is everything that inflates the A400's $1,800 price. The kickoff recoil system of debatable value, the anodized cosmetic upgrades, the premium wood options. What it keeps is what matters. The self-cleaning gas piston, the cold hammer-forged barrel, the oversized controls, and a cycling record that runs light target loads and heavy waterfowl magnums without adjustment. Clay clubs across the country have watched A300s digest 20,000 rounds a year on rental racks, the harshest duty cycle in the shotgun world, and keep running. The price tracks the machining, not the catalog photography. When a legacy company sells a gun this honestly, it deserves the credit, and the A300 is the proof that Beretta knows exactly which of its prices are real. And finally, in first place, Remington's 870, under its revived Remington ownership in Ilion, New York, delivers the most honest price-to-function ratio in the entire shotgun market, and it does so on the strength of the most produced shotgun in human history, over 12 million units since 1950. A Remington 870 Fieldmaster retails between $450 and $550, a price that in real terms has barely moved in 70 years. The receiver is milled from a solid billet of steel, not cast, not stamped, not aluminum, a manufacturing choice that costs more per unit and is passed to the buyer at a price below polymer-era competitors. Twin action bars, a steel-on-steel lockup, and a design so consistent that an armorer trained in 1970 can service one built last month with the same bench and the same punch. Parts cost pennies. Barrels swap in seconds. The aftermarket is effectively infinite. Police agencies issued it for half a century, for the same reason a first-time owner buys it today. Predictability, parts, and a service life measured in generations. The company collapsed, the name changed hands, and the gun survived it all. Because the record is the story. No heritage campaign is required when 3 generations of the same family have carried the same receiver into the same duck blind. Here, the label, the build, and the price are all in honest alignment. It is not the most beautiful shotgun ever made. It is the most honest one. The most honest one. The most